in conjunction with the One Love IMG Hip Hop Symphony Neighborhood Game. And he says, he's talking about fashion. No man puts a piece of new cloth. This is when you're designing a new piece of clothes. No man puts a piece of new cloth onto an old garment, because the piece that you put on the old garment to fill it up takes from the garment, and it will tear the garment and make it worse or worthless. So you don't take new fabric and sew it on to an old garment, because the new fabric will cause the old fabric to tear. Listen. And also, no man puts new wine into old wineskins, or else the old wineskin bottles will break. He said there's nothing new under the sun. These new religions, these new denominations, these new philosophies, these new houses of worship, these new systems of worship. He said none of them are of God. There's nothing new under the sun. The word that was in the beginning, that's the only acceptable word of God. Anything coming after the two beings of creation speaking the word of God is rejected by God. And he compared what they gave the world to the new wine that they planted in the garden and gave Adam and Eve during their wedding feast. When it says, and Adam knew Eve and the two became one. The very first husbandman that planted a vineyard was Adam. And God gave him the recipe to make wine to celebrate their wedding feast. And this is talking about the process of making wine, that same holy wine. No man puts new wine in old wineskins, because the old wineskins will break. And he says, go on to say, the oldest wine is better. The oldest wine, the in the beginning wine, the first wine that he gave Adam and Eve, is better than Ace of Spades, better than Ciroc, better than Hennessy, better than Cognac, Crown Royal, and any other of the mystery Babylonian wines that the earth manufactures. And so the last thing I want to say based off of that prayer and that wish that I had, once again, I set out 35 years ago to save 2 boots. And the other day I said I prayed and I wished and I hoped that the individuals that I extended and offered to join our wedding feast took us up and joined this covenant, especially Nas. Especially Nas. And why Nas? I crowned Nas because he was first. You gotta have 2 witnesses, but Nas is first. So there is something in the Bible called a first fruit blessing and a birthright blessing. And the Hebrews and the fake Jews and Christianity, they all have taught the birthright incorrectly. They teach that a birthright belongs to the man. That's incorrect. Because of the story of Esau and Jacob. Everybody knows that Jacob had the birthright. But the birthright is a wedding dowry. Because the priceless commodity of the only womb that has the ability to bring forth the Messiah was Cush, Ham. And God made a covenant with those women of fruitfulness to produce the children that God wanted to receive as a harvest to replace the 1/3 that he had cast out of heaven. And so, in order not to rob these women who have a priceless gift that God desires, and for the husband who can't produce the children to be able to exchange something of priceless value with that woman who is giving him the priceless value of the child, God demanded that men give tangible, physical, earthly commodities and assets to the bride that they were marrying in exchange for her giving them the seed of the birthright heirs. And the dowry belonged to the bride. Because no male could have a kingdom without an heir, an offspring. That is the birthright blessing. A woman and only one group of women. And this is why I knew that my wife was my wife, because she's in that group of women. So the opposite of the birthright blessing is the first fruit blessing. Adam was the first fruit blessing of earth because he was created first. Eve, it was the birthright blessing. She was created second, and she had the womb to produce children. First fruit blessing, birthright blessing. In heaven,